Here we go. This is an alert to all parents, particularly Texas parents, but do not tune out. This will touch your community, your school, and your child, no matter where you live in America. Something super nefarious is happening while you sleep. The Texas State Board of Education called a special session August 1st. They gave 72 hours notice to revise what's called the TEACS program. Don't worry, I will break it down for you. What is the TEACS program? But they are revising it, and you don't know about it, and it is radical. You have 1 week to act, and so there's going to be a call of action at the end of this episode. And for you on Instagram, you have to watch all the episodes. It's too much content for me to get in one 15-minute sitting. On YouTube, just keep watching. Rumble, keep watching. But on Instagram, watch everything. Literally, I would argue the future of our youth and our nation depends on it. We're talking about things like replacing God with divination, American culture with Chinese culture and family, breaking down the family from father and mother, moving it to community. Family is community, and community should raise your children, and from community, then the state government should raise your children, and then from state government, the federal government should raise your children. We're talking about things like classifying the Texas Rangers and teach them as an oppressive organization, the prestigious Texas Rangers. Let's go on. Our Texas-Mexico border will be taught as a militarization zone. So having a border will be having a militarization zone. That's into the globalist mindset, to be global citizens, not to have a border in Texas or the United States. Oh, are you puking yet? Wait, this is nothing. It excludes U.S. holiday observations. And yes, we're talking about what will be taught in Texas schools and in your state school. I'll argue later why it will infiltrate into every single curriculum around the country. They will exclude U.S. holiday observations like, I don't know, let's see, Military Heroes Day, like Veterans Day, Holocaust Remembrance, the Week of the Alamo. So no more Alamo in Texas. Will not teach the Alamo. Goliath, Davy Crockett, important figures. They'll all be thrown by the wayside, right? So let's get into the State Board of Education. And for the most part, it works this way in your state. But let's talk about the Texas State Board of Education that's under siege at the moment. Not the board, but the people by the board. By an action of fast-tracking a revision of what's called the TEACS program. It was supposed to happen in January, but they fast-tracked it to now. Why? Because there's an election coming in November, and the board will be replaced. So let's look at some of their actions. The board is comprised out of 15 members. The chairman of the board is appointed by the governor, Governor Abbott. He appointed Kevin Ellis, the chairman, and we're going to talk about Kevin Ellis. Kevin, need to step up and support the constituents, the Texas families. Kevin Ellis is the chairman. Kevin doesn't vote unless it's a tight vote. 7-7. Kevin is the tiebreaker. So 15 members. May I tell you, thus far in this process, which you now basically have a week to take action to prevent this from going down, only 2 Republicans on that school board is against this. 2 out of the 9. So we've got 2 who are not rhinos. We've got 2 who's willing to stand for the American family. 2 who's putting the child and the best interest of the child first. Remember that. This is why you don't vote for Republicans that are not vetted. We better vote right. Okay. Yes, down to school boards. Your local school board, but definitely state school board. Mr. Ellis sets the agenda for this whole session. He decides what's on the agenda, what goes and what doesn't go. That is very, very relevant later on in this episode. And then, of course, as I said, he has the tiebreaker vote. The SBOE for the state of Texas sets the standards for the whole state from which schools, public schools, cannot opt out. Now, we know, such as comprehensive sex ed last year, the independent school district superintendent can opt in. They can opt curriculum in, which is why the bill we passed in Oklahoma is so prevalent and has to pass in Texas. I argue across the country, right, to stop sexual content from getting into the classroom. But no, this set of debauched proposed material that I'm about to go through, this cannot be opted out of. No, your child's going to learn this. Now, when you have a Texas child, the Alamo is gone. Holidays are gone. Everything that they are deciding through this process of the TEKS revision process, and they revise an element of TEKS every year. This year, I'm going to tell you a little bit about more, is social studies, okay? And maybe not so much what you think should be in social studies. But it will stand for how long? 10 months, a year? No, 12 years. They're setting the standards for social studies, which we're going to break down, for the next 12 years in the state of Texas. And I'm going to show you how that impacts the nation. Okay? Nonsense. TEKS. What is TEKS, Jaco? TEKS. And this is what it stands for. Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills. If things would only actually mean what their name said, we would be in a better place in this country. It's comprised from working groups that will sit there and work group A, B, C, D, and now we're in work group E. Oh yeah, we're late to the party. Again, they've done a lot of work, which I will argue later, again, without you knowing. But now group E is comprised out of nominees from group A through group D. Group E now is in the final stretch. They've turned a corner on the quarter mile, and they are sprinting to the finish line to fundamentally change your children in this nation before the next election. So they're currently revising these standards, and they are flying unopposed. Okay, the content advisors to the State Board of Education, these are scholars that would advise a state board on a particular set of work that needs to be revised, experts in their field. People such as Dr. Jeff Lash. These are the advisors. Stephen Belch, Kimberly Baxter, Pinar, Emma Raliagu, Donald Frazier, Stephen Mitz, Mary Smith, and then, yes, of course, Alexa Prophet. Now, Alexa Prophet's interesting because Alexa Prophet got to testify when some of the others didn't. And when you as parents did not get the opportunity to testify, August 1st, when they made some of the parents wait until midnight, but they would hear lobbyist groups through the day, and the cutoff was at 5 p.m., you didn't even know about it. But Alexa Prophet got to contribute. But Alexa is at the University of Texas, and she is a CRT professor. So what's really happening? Jaco, TEKS program, Texas State School Board of Education. What's the hoopla? The hoopla is they're going to fundamentally change what your child learns in the classroom. They're going to depart from certain sets of values and processes in our country and belief systems that's core to Texas, but also core to the United States. Because this includes civics and government, economics, geography, history, including Texas, U.S., and world history. That's what's being revised at the moment. They're touching those 4 pillars, if I can call them pillars, within the TEKS program, which now, going forward, they want to extend to 8 pillars, with most of the new 4 pillars being worldview. Not American view, but worldview. Because we are now, in fact, under this new TEKS revised program, going to create global citizens, not Texas citizens, not proud Americans. No. Well-abiding subjects of the Global Citizen Program. All on our watch while we're sleeping. So what is happening? They're going to revise this. You've got about a week to really oppose this. There will be a call of action. We're going to inform you here, motivate you. Yeah, you're going to get really upset, and so you should. And I'm going to make an argument later why this is not just Texas. They're going to review currently and revise, which they are doing, the last revision, which happened in 2009, enacted in 2010, which was revised by a kind of a cool guy named David Barton and the other scholars that helped David. David is the founder of Wall Builders. Thank you, David and Tim. Let me give you a quick little blurb on Wall Builders. Wall Builders is an organization dedicated to presenting America's forgotten history and heroes, with an emphasis on the moral, religious, and constitutional foundation on which America was built. So we're going to go from that, which drafted the most recent revision of the social studies in 2009, and they're now not building and revising and updating that revision. They're moving away from it. They're moving away from America. They're moving away from teaching your child why this nation is special, why Texas is special. They're moving away from teaching fundamental historic things, and you're going to see what they're blending into it. Okay, I want to read something to you real quick before we go further. This is from one of the advisors that I read to you, Dr. Jeff Lash. Jeff Lash said this, and this was now on August 1st, when the parents did not get to give testimony, when the lobbyist groups did. He said this, after careful review, now remember, his job is to advise the school board on this very issue. How do we revise this? What does the revision look like? Are there updates? This is what he says. Thoughts on the proposed revision of K through 8 studies and in K through 12. After careful review of the draft of social studies, TEKS revision, I have concerns about the proposed chronologic framework, the inconsistent use of strands, and the organization of process skills. At the point in the revision process, however, rejecting the chronologic framework in favor of the enhanced framework presented at the June SBOE meeting is the priority. What he is saying is, hey, in June, we told you guys as advisors, predominantly, most of them, the CRT professor, in June we told you it is best practice if we take what David Barton and the scholars revised in 2009 and we built on it. That's what we've been teaching for the last 12 years. Sure, we have to update it. Some laws have changed. Sure, we have to bring it current and revise here or there. But it's best if we do that versus abandoning that. He writes further, the Texas Education Agency, TEA, has stated that by consensus, content advisors suggested the revision. Content advisors by consensus said, look, it's best if we build on what we have. If we build on 2009. If we build on somebody that's pro-America, pro-Constitution. But no. They decided differently. To the point where, since April, they stopped communicating in full with these content advisors. They stopped consulting them. But they called them on the day for the first public reading, which I'll give you a timeline for. So let's get into, actually, you know what I want to do? I want to throw in real quick the process of where are we in the process. We're going to throw this on screen. What you're seeing on screen right now is how much work has been done up until now. You're hearing about this now. August 1st was the SBOE public hearing, which was not really a public hearing. August 30th is the first reading. You don't have a lot of time. It passed through that public hearing. The 9 conservatives on that board did not object. Only 2 did. And now we are here, and we are in the final stretch. So for those of you on Instagram, I want to say you have got to watch episode 2, episode 3. I don't know how many we're going to do. Just keep watching all of them because I'm about to get into what comes next. By grade, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, all the way to seniors in high school, what they're about to teach your children. And may I show you the amount of work my team, I want to honor the team. God bless you. The amount of work the team has done and people from the state of Texas, 127 pages, hundreds, if not thousands of hours poured over this for your children, looking at the education codes in Texas and the violations to the education codes in Texas. You've got to stay tuned. You have to watch episode 2. We're about to dive into kindergarten, and you do not want to miss this. So come back if you're on Instagram. YouTube, you stay right there. Okay, you Instagrammers, thank you for coming to the second episode. Here we go. Let's dive. Look, we're going to roll. This freight train is going all the way to Austin, and most likely you're going to have to go with us. Oh, man, we're going to name him. You know what? Let's do that right now. Let's show you the state board, Texas State Board of Education. We're going to bring it up on screen. Dan, go to that white shot. This board over here, man, I tell you, I pray for favor over these people. But I pray that they get their minds right. May the scales be removed from their eyes, and may they put the children first, not their own agenda. So there they are on screen. 9 conservatives, 6 Democrats. Out of the 15 of them, 13 for this debacle of indoctrinating children, moving them away from loving this nation, Texas, and the country. We're going to ask you later to message every single one of them, and we're going to give you the details. We're going to give you the website. You're going to go to our website and click on a button that says Urgent Texas Teaks. And we literally tell you there, but don't go yet. Listen, so you're educated, so you know what to do. We instruct you what to do, how to write the email, what to say, call them, and maybe join the train to Austin. Might just have to go. Let our voices be heard. If you don't do anything else, share this with everybody in the nation. All right, let's start. Kindergarten. What is being replaced? Jaco, again, what's the big deal? You've educated on TEKS and all the different things. We've seen that we're way behind the 8 ball in the timeline. Documents all over the place. And we're going to talk about a letter to the government. The Texas government, meaning the Texas governor, in a little bit. So kindergarten, they're breaking the nuclear family. They're now teaching community, state, and federal. What does that mean? They're teaching that the family does not raise the child. Yes, teaching this in kindergarten. The community raises the child. And after the community, it's the state's job to raise the child. And then the federal government. Oh, you good peasant. You good law-abiding citizen that forfeit all your rights and your children's rights and their future. That allow their brains to be corrupted from the leeches of government. This is literally grooming global citizens. Remember now, I've already told you, they consider a border a militarized zone. They don't want a border. Are you aware that the Mexican president proposed to go to the White House and suggest that there should not be a border between the USA and Mexico? Do you know that our friend up north in Canada supported such a notion that maybe there shouldn't be a border with Canada? Maybe we should be one America like the European Union. Maybe one world government. Maybe a new world order. Who knows? But they definitely want a global citizen, right? They're teaching, unfortunately, that in our founding fathers, the missionaries that came to America were missionaries to come commit theft and steal the land from the native communities, who we love, by the way, and are thankful for. In first grade, they're going to teach community values as it relates to state and federal government. Not individual liberty. Not liberty and justice for all, but community values. What does your community say? Do you fit in with the community? Are you of the mindset of the community? Later on, we're going to start talking gender and sexuality. 42% of the history that will be taught in elementary school under this new TEKS proposed program, right? 42% of the history will be China's history in a favorable light. Yeah, the dictatorship, the CCP, the Communist Party that's currently bubble wrapping people, throwing them in the back of a van if they don't want their 3rd or 4th vaccine. Or for whatever reason, they decide how many children they can have. Oh, yeah, with the Chinese Revolution that they couldn't study anything for 10 years, that they burned books. Oh, we got to celebrate that regime, not the Chinese people, the good, amazing Chinese people that, by the way, my opinion, is about to have another revolution against their government. No, they're going to teach that. In fact, 42% of the time of the history. 3rd grade. Let's get to 3rd grade. Oh, man. Are you with me? Don't check out. Stay with me here. Be a good American citizen, not a global citizen. How about that? 6,165 minutes will be taught. And they will teach hunter and gatherers, early civics, 2000 BC, 600 BC, 3rd through 8th grade, what will be out is Paul Revere, gone. Sam Adams, you're gone. Oh, Abraham Lincoln, you're gone. That's right, no more Abraham Lincoln. Oh, Roosevelt's gone, JFK's gone, Reagan is gone, and Trump is gone. Didn't exist. James Bonham is gone. Fundamentally, eliminating American history. Cherry picking, I almost said it. Yeah, like some people like to cherry pick scripture. Cherry picking history. History stands for itself. You can't recreate it. You can't touch it. You take the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent, and you learn from it. But no. We're going retroactively, and we're cherry picking what we teach from history and what not. It's just funny enough that we teach some of the people that are fundamental to our society. Slavery is heavily taught and mentioned. White supremacy is taught. Now, we're talking about 3rd grade here. Do the math. Young little malleable brain. And, of course, they teach oppression, victimhood, victim mentality, right? Because to oppress a lot of people, they must be victims. They can't be free. Hard to oppress a free person. There's a very slim mention of World War I, World War II, the Vietnam War, and maybe we just missed it, but there's nothing anywhere in all these documents about Russia, Stalin, or Hitler. More on 3rd grade. They're going to teach civil rights movement, and they're going to blend it in a thing called intersectionality. Mark that word. Intersectionality means they're going to intersect certain things from one set of society and blend it with the other and just throw it in a blender and create new history. Through intersectionality and civil rights, they're going to teach the LGBTQ rights movement under the heading of intersectionality as it connects with the civil rights movement. So taking a 2022 Gay Pride Month and blending it all the way back to the civil rights movement, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks. They would stand up out of their graves. 4th grade. Let's go. All you 4th grade mamas. Love the mamas, by the way. You fight. Dads, this is your time, dude. This is your hour. Now you stand up. Now you stand next to your wife, and now you show up at Austin. And now you vote with your dollar. And now you hold the guy that you voted for accountable. This is your moment. This is your draft. You're now being called. You do not push your wife in front here and say, go fight, mom, go fight. You now step into the boardroom and you hold the men accountable because our state and our nation depends on it. If this happens on your watch, I will give you Ezekiel 33:7 and tell you that blood will be on your hands. This is your warning. 7 days. Do something. Texas history is gone. 4th grade. No Texas history. Now they're going to teach world religion plus civilization, Islam, Hindu, Buddhism. 5,265 minutes will be spent on a 4th grader's life to teach Buddhism, Hinduism, paganism. The community replaces the family. 4th grade. Focus on world culture, world religion. Of course, no Lincoln in 3rd grade. But we're going to teach Angela Davis in 4th grade. No Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln didn't make the list. Sorry, dude, just didn't do enough. But Angela Davis is being taught. Oh, she's the founder of critical resistance. So your 4th graders are going to know Angela Davis, but they will not know Abraham Lincoln. 5th grade. Let's keep going. Don't get tired on me now. It's not for you, it's for the kids. Deep dive into Chinese dynasties. Why does a 5th grader need to understand the Chinese dynasties, but he doesn't understand the founding fathers, the founding documents? You're going to learn later what they're doing with those. Don't know Abraham Lincoln. Knows Angela Davis, and he knows the Chinese dynasties. Almost like we want to program a people to position them to get ready for some sort of a socialist, nationalist, Marxist movement. They're going to focus exclusively on the world history. It's going to be devoid of Western civilization. No Texas or U.S. history. But we're going to teach the Middle East, India, South America. And you may say, but I want my kid to be rounded. I want my kid to be cultured. I want him to know the world. I'm an immigrant. I've lived on 3 continents. I want my kids to be cultured as well. But they better understand they live in Texas and know Texas law and know that we need a border and understand in God we trust. Oh, that's right. They remove that. Yes, you will hear. In God we trust, gone. I told you this is dangerous. It's demonic. It is rocking the foundation of our nation. So yes, I want my kids to be cultured, but they better know their values here. They better know who died and paid in blood for their freedom here. They better understand where their dad comes from in South Africa and why I came here and why this is better. They must know U.S. history. They must defend it. They must promote it. I don't care if they understand one single Chinese dynasty, ever. It matters not. 6th grade through 7th grade. We got a couple Texas codes, right? I held them up. Here they are. These codes are not just toilet paper. They're actually things that the State Board of Education needs to go by. But they're reneging their duty. They're abdicating their position from adhering to these things. It's almost like some states just changed the law of sodomy regardless of statutory rape. Hello, Gavin Newsom. Well, wait a minute. We're about to send some new curriculums to California from Texas. Don't you worry. There's a reason they're coming for Texas. So that code is code 29.907. It mandates Texas history and the Celebrate Freedom Week, which is the founding documents. So by this code 29.907, we have to teach Texas history. We have to teach the founding documents. Well, it's gone. They're not going to teach Civil War. No deaths in the Civil War. No Southern dissemination or Republican Reconstruction or the reformation of the Republican parties. No mention of the American accomplishments such as the moon landing. None of our big moments, the greatness of America, the triumph, the victories through battle such as Civil War, the battle against racism and slavery. No, we're not going to teach the victories that propel us as an independent nation of free thinkers that want to dream big, that want to go to the moon, that little Johnny in 5th and 6th and 7th grade said, I can, it's America. Somebody will support my dream. No. You got to ask for permission. Does the global community approve of what you want to do, Johnny? Because remember, it's not your family. The community will raise you. And then the state. And then the federal government. Or have we forgotten that just, I think the other day, we're all of a sudden hiring 87,000 IRS agents that's now trained to break through doors armed. Connect the dots. Nothing that is happening in a silo. It's all connected. It is a globalist plan. And they're coming for your children. Texas. And so goes Texas. So goes the rest of this country. I will show it to you. We'll prove it. They're not going to teach the founding documents. No. They're now going to teach the spirit of the founding documents. And how you align with the spirit and how the community that's raising you interprets the spirit of the founding documents. So if the community says they were racist, well, then you need to align with that. If the community says that the missionaries that came to steal, then you're going to have to align with that spirit. I argue it's a demonic spirit versus the Spirit of God that's going to be really hard to find in your child's classroom. And that is my biggest pain point. Because truth sets people free. Light kills darkness. You can't drive darkness out with darkness. And there is no way that you have a rudder in life if you don't have truth. 6th and 7th grade, no more in God we trust. E pluribus unum, gone. From one many, and from many one. From many one. It's gone. Our national motto. And then in God we trust. I don't know what they're going to do with the money because it's printed on the money. Probably planning on removing that with the new digital currency. We went over our time there a little bit for Instagram. You're back. Thank you for in episode 3 now. I got hot there. Hot. I'm upset. I didn't immigrate to this country for it to become China. So you Instagrammers, thank you for being back in episode 3. We're back in 6th and 7th grade for the YouTubers and the rumblers, if there's such a thing. Thank you for staying with us. So we said at the end of that episode, no more e pluribus unum, no more from many, one, no more in God we trust. Oh, listen to this. I just told you a little bit ago that without truth, we can't be set free. Without a rudder, we're lost. Light drives out darkness. But how about this? They're going to, in 6th and 7th grade, remove Moses. Not the neighbor, the guy with the staff that smacked the Red Sea, the guy who went up the mountain, Moses, and got the 10 Commandments. Oh, that's what it's all about. You remove Moses, you remove the 10 Commandments. No more 10 Commandments, no more Moses. The history of government, economics, geography will now be taught through the lens of culture. Because everything is about culture. And they want to control culture. 8th grade, let's keep going. There's going to be a heavy emphasis in 8th grade. And again, may I just pause? This is mandated. Your child's school does not opt out of this. This will be taught if you do not, in the next 7 days, take action. And get Mr. Ellis to do some things, and the state school board to do some things, and the governor Abbott, and the lieutenant governor Patrick, and Mike Morath, the commissioner of education in Texas. Oh, you don't get a pass, buddy. No. You don't get to sit at the pinnacle of education in Texas and then pass the buck and go, the chairman will do it. Well, no. The state school board will do it because I don't really vote. I only vote on a tie vote. Oh, no. All the way up to the top. Buddy, respectfully. To the commissioner, you're all responsible, and you all can do the right thing. Imagine this. You still have time to do the right thing. Well, Jaco, what's the right thing? The best thing for the child, according to who we are as a nation, teaching history as history, not cherry-picking it, not changing it retroactively. Bye-bye intersectionality. That idea is toxic. No more thoughts of community raise the child, but maybe the family. How about the concept of the nuclear family? We're Texas after all. Heavy emphasis on LGBTQ, and your child in 8th grade is going to have to study and memorize and understand, and by their liking, come into agreement with 28 selected genders. Do you even know what they are? I'm pausing because the rage in me and where we're going as Texas, we've lost our identity. We're Texas, for crying out loud. Every single time Ron DeSantis does something that kicks us in the teeth, it pains me. We're Texas. Governor Stitt in Oklahoma kicking our tail, protecting children. He signed 2 bills we wrote. He signed the most protective bill over children and pornography in this country. And thank you, Governor Stitt, but why is it not Texas? Why are we setting now new debauched standards for the nation's children versus being the light, the shining light on the hill? Saying, don't come here, rocks over here, which is the purpose of a lighthouse. No, we're turning the light off. We're waving the ships in, and they're wrecking. And they're going to wreck our youth. And it's on the watch of the current Texas State School Board of Education, the Commissioner of Education, the chairman of that board. Heck, the whole state government. If America's children fall away from understanding what this nation is because their curriculums get set on Texas, it's on you. And parents, do not let it be on you. Dads, you step up. This is your hour. They're going to teach mandatory comprehensive sex ed. Oh, remember last year in April, the school board voted it down. Then they approved it. Then the independent school superintendents voted it in. No, now it's mandated. And you don't want to get me started on comprehensive sex ed. That's not this program. Just know they're going to teach your kid books like Lawn Boy, Gender Queer, My Rainbow, Pride, and the Harvey Milk Story. All based on DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Let's go to high school. Don't bail on me. We are adults. We are the leaders of this state. God, whether you believe in Him or not, gave us a gift called the United States of America. Gave us a gift called Texas. Gave us a gift called children. That's right. The arrows in the quiver of a man. How blessed is he? The gift. And we're squandering the gift. And whether you believe it or not, the master will return and say, what did you do with the talents I gave you? What did you do with the gift? Oh, it's not just your canary singing voice, or your ability to be a lawyer or a doctor or a dentist. No, it's the gift of this country. It's the gift of being a citizen of the United States, not a global citizen. It's the gift of standing and put your hand on your heart when you sing that anthem. When you say the Pledge of Allegiance, when you pledge allegiance to the flag of Texas, when you look at this country and say every single child should dream, should want to go to the moon. Oh, we don't teach the moon. We didn't go. No great accomplishments in this country. Terrible. We need to change it all. And this school board, right now, 13-2, stand in agreement. Shame on you. I love you. I pray for you. But I do not have to stand in agreement with the spirit you're in agreement with. I don't have to do that. And I don't have to like you. But I love you. In the kingdom, I pray for you. May your eyes open. High school. This is in page 23 of this beautiful bunch of vomit. Okay? If you want to go research it. The removal of Eurocentric content. The removal of Christianity. So that we can be more inclusive. So we don't just include other teachings, we just remove Christianity. So that we can be more inclusive. I told you DEI, right? Diversity, equity, and inclusion. World Geography is on page 65. For those you want to know for high school, we use Gender Inequality Index. So now your child's going to be taught and going to be measured by the Gender Inequality Index. The World Happiness Report, because everything's a feeling. Love is a feeling. And if I hurt your feelings, it must mean I don't love you. But no, love corrects. Love disciplines. No, that's gone. Oh, may I tell you, Beto O'Rourke recently in one of his gatherings said, no Texas child would ever be under stress again. Oh, yes, that Beto O'Rourke, the one running against Governor Abbott. You think this is bad? This is a preamble. If that happens, may that not happen, and may you show up at the polls and make sure that doesn't happen. Oh, that Beto O'Rourke, Francis O'Rourke, said, no more standardized testing. We don't want a kid to stress over a test. No, we're going to make it even. No kid should ever stress. Meaning we should breed a weak culture that folds under the first bit of pressure. That's not life, buddy. Life is going to happen to that child, and they're going to fold, and they're going to commit suicide. Oh, that's right. We saw what happened in 2020 and 2021, the suicide rates of our kids. We're breeding a weak culture. Let's continue with high school. The World Happiness Report will be a resource tool for your child. Again, globalist. Current TEKS will identify the negative aspects of identifies the negative aspects of globalization that will be removed. So currently in Texas, we teach that globalization of anything is negative. That's removed because they want it to be positive. The new TEKS is pro-globalization. On page 50, the foundation of the Judeo-Christian development of the Democratic Republic style of government, legal traditions, and classical Greece and Rome is removed. The foundation's gone. All of history is taught through a lens of sociology, very fluid, focusing on the underrepresented groups and experiences. That's page 57 and 58. Again, the community. More on high school. NATO is removed and replaced by the United Nations Security Council. Of course it is. Of course we're going to go towards the United Nations. We're not going to teach Abraham Lincoln. We're not going to teach the Alamo, but we're going to teach the United Nations. NATO's gone. Radical Islamic terrorism is removed. This sounds like the Obama era when we couldn't say that it was radical to blow up an American city. That's gone. Current TEKS, according to Texas Administrative Code, again, we've got the code here somewhere. Rule 74.33 require that the U.S. Constitution and founding documents is taught, abolitionist movement is taught, emancipation, women's suffrage is taught. That's gone. No more. We're now going to teach this proposed themed slavery, Jim Crow, industrialization, unions, of course. How could we have a global citizen if we don't have a union? But how hypocritical, because Starbucks, as in right now, is fighting against getting unionized. A corporation that funds these things often. But they don't want to be unionized. No, because they love capitalism. But capitalism's gone. In 4th grade now. No, not good anymore. And of course, they're going to teach China post. Not pre, but post World War II. Well, we're not done. The women's suffrage movement will be equal to the Equal Rights Amendment. The GI Bill will be taught as it led to wealth inequality in America. The U.S. Supreme Court aiding civil rights movement with Roe v. Wade, that's going to be taught. Diverse underrepresented populations lynched in America. LGBT women's rights, Black Latinos. We're moving towards culture. Over There song. Have you heard the Over There song? We don't have time to play it, but we should. The Over There song will be taught as U.S. propaganda. Global Stratification Foundation for High School Sociology Work Groups. That's page 145. The 1619 Project, which I think you've heard about, will be the Foundation for Ethics Studies. That's all in Work Group E at the moment. That's on page 4. Told you earlier that a letter went to the governor. I cannot publish this letter because we don't want those who mean harm to intercept. But there's a letter that went to the governor, and it's a really good letter. I can tell you that's a letter that supports American families. It supports the parents. It supports parental rights. It supports educating your kids, and it's by educators. It's people like, Jeffrey, Dr. Jeffrey, and scholars who say, whoa, stop here. We're going to break kids. It breaks down exactly what happens and what doesn't happen. And that letter is endorsed by Moms for America, Moms for Liberty, Texas, Tree of Life Foundation International, the Convention of the States, and Texas Eagle Forum. Do we remember Phyllis Schlafly? I wonder what Phyllis Schlafly would say about this nonsense. We're going to go one more episode, so you got to hang in there, Instagram. We're almost in the final stretch. Now we're going to tell you about what you can do, what the timelines are, when what will happen, and what you can expect, and what will happen if you do not act, if you don't share this video or these 4 episodes. Is it episode 4 we're going into? Episode 4. And I know you'll go, this dude is super passionate. This dude is on fire. Is he angry? I'm toning it down because this microphone will blow Dan's ears up and we'll go nuts. Typically, I wouldn't sit down when I talk about this stuff. Stay tuned. We're going to tell you exactly what to do, where to go on our website, Jaco Booyens Ministries. It's at the bottom of the screen, jacoboyensministries.org. You're going to click on a button that says Urgent Texas TEKS. And we're going to literally walk you through how to email your Texas State Board of Education members and asking them to do the right thing. All right, episode 4. Thank you, you Instagrammers. Thank you for standing with us. Hey, come on, Rumble. Thank you. Thank you, YouTube, for hanging here with us. It's for the children. It's not for us. You know, we fight sex trafficking. Fighting for children is what I do. Every single day of our lives is what our team does. Thank you to Tammy and Becca and Rebecca and Jenna, and Dan and myself and Philippa and the tremendous amount of women. And the phone calls and the thousands of hours of research of the warriors behind the scenes that have labored over these documents, that are fighting, that are standing at the steps of the Capitol and fighting for this. We're going to put this on the screen. David Barton's 2009 revision of what is proposed for K through grade 8. That we're saying now, can we just go back to this and can we revise this? Not according to Jaco Booyens, but according to one of the key content advisors, Dr. Jeff Lash, to the State Board of Education. Somebody who didn't get to speak, but now let's tell you what's about to happen. So goes Texas, so goes the United States in many things, I argue. Well, this new revision, this new draft of our TEKS program in the Texas State School Board of Education under Group E, comprised out of Group A through D, under the careful watch of the Commissioner, Mike Morath, under the careful watch under Kevin Ellis, the Chairman, all of them under the watch, of course, of the Governor and the Lieutenant Governor. They are redrafting this. And it's going to affect every single American family. Why, Jaco? You may not know this. Texas has the most kids in school of any state. We have 5.8 million school students, K through 12, in Texas. Because of that, curriculum standards for the nation are set in Texas. Because of that, your publishers of curriculum and textbooks write according to the Texas TEKS program. And they are going to write new curriculum and content, and a lot of the content comes through a third party, which is why the bill we passed in Oklahoma is so important, and we're bringing it to Texas. But they're going to write content based on what is happening right now for the next 7 days before August 30th. And so goes Texas with the TEKS program, so will go the United States of America and kids in Omaha, Nebraska, Los Angeles, California, Maine, Alaska, Newport Beach, West Palm Beach will be taught from curriculums that's being drafted by this state school board of education, a lot of the times outside of the advice from their key content advisors. This is not if, this is when, if we don't stop it. It will be the new standard. Well, from what foundation and base will the content creators and the curriculum writers and the publishers pull? They're going to pull from the standards that TEKS set in Texas, and they're then going to pull from a baseline curriculum, which is called the International Baccalaureate Program from the United Nations and from UNESCO.
Do you know if when AP is reviewed or when IB courses are reviewed, and does TEA get involved? Do we get involved?
So we are made aware when College Board or the International Baccalaureate Organization makes revisions to their courses. We're not involved in the development or revision of their courses, but we are made aware of when those changes are being made and implemented, so that to the extent that you need to make adjustments to your administrative rule, you have an opportunity to do that.
Did I say global citizen earlier? Did I say globalizing Texas? not in the good sense, making Texans more non-American, teaching them less about our country and our values, more about the international community and what the community feels and how they fit into the 28 genders. All according to the International Baccalaureate Program from the United Nations and UNESCO. That's what the content creators and the curriculum writers and the publishers are going to use. We're going from being an American mindset to a global citizen mindset in our youth. Here's the path forward, and pay close attention. All this wasn't for naught. All this was for a call to action of actually doing something to get back to the 2009 draft with some sanity, some revisions and updates. Yes, of course. But not abandoning foundation and our country and our children at that. Here's the path forward. 3 options. If this passes, it will be the standard for the next 12 years. Now, every year, they will revise one of these 4 silos. Now it's social studies. Next year, 2023, it's math. 2023, it will be math. So they're gonna look at math. But remember now, we're gonna have a new school board in January. I'd argue because of the red wave that's gonna hit, maybe it will be a more pro-American. I don't even want to say pro-Republican. I don't care, Republican, Democrat in this. Okay? Because clearly it doesn't matter. Give me that white shot again, Dan. Let's go back to the board. The board of fame. Clearly it doesn't matter because there's 9 Republicans and only 2 of them are thinking clearly, right? So it doesn't matter if it's Republicans and Democrats. Of course, it matters, but it's about the child. Because shouldn't children, things like sex trafficking, comprehensive sex ed, shouldn't children be bipartisan issue? But it's not. So it's going to be a more pro-American board, I believe, in January, which is why they fast-tracked it. And they didn't leave it up to that board. And that's who should have, in January, revised the 2009 TEK standards. But they fast-tracked it. Well, who fast-tracked it? Well, Chairman Kevin Ellis decided to fast-track it and put it on the agenda. And Commissioner Morath supported it. And 7 of the 9 Republicans on the Texas State School Board supported it. And of course, all 6 of the Democrats supported it because they're playing for a globalist mindset. So if this passes, it will be the standard for the next 12 years. God help America. Or there's 3 other options. If you take action, option number 1, which is not the best. They're not in order of preference. They're just three possibilities. Chairman Ellis, because of your pressure on him, because of your voice being heard, because of you saying these are our children, they're not the community's children. Sorry, nuclear family, my child. Because of your voice in the next 7 days to Kevin Ellis. Kevin Ellis has all the authority as the chairman of the SBOE of Texas to pull this from the agenda and push it back to January. Pass the hot potato. And say, the next school board, you're dealing with this. He could do that. I'm going to ask you to ask him to do that nicely. We're going to be nice but firm with conviction. He can pull it from the agenda. And then hopefully that more pro-child, pro-America team will think differently. Okay? Option number 2. This board can reject this draft, okay, this thing, and they can adopt the 2009 standards, which we have been teaching. They can say, let's go back to that and let's revise it. And let's add to it. And let's bring it current with statutes and legislation. Sure, they can do that. That'll be good. They can do that, again, with your pressure. They're not going to do it on their own. Oh, let me tell you, the 3 things I'm mentioning to you now is not on their radar. Their radar is, this is set. And then a 3rd option is they can scrap the whole thing and say, start over. Let's start over. This is obviously, there's resistance by the people. The parents are upset. They don't like what we want to teach their children. After all, they actually still believe it's actually their children. It's not the community's children. Not our children, as some teachers would say. It's not your children. They can scrap it and start over. Here's the critical timeline for you. Okay? August 30th. By the time you see this, you're going to have a week. You're going to go to our website, JacoBooyensMinistries.org. You're going to click at the top left. There's a button for you. Urgent, Texas TEKS. You click on it. It opens up everything I just told you and more. All the names, all the people. And I'm asking you to be kind. Be a good citizen. Be a good, I would say, faith-based Christian and fight within the law. Do it fairly. Write a strong email with a strong opinion, but be kind. Be a good role model. Don't stoop to a level where we set bad example for our children, where we have to regret it later. Do it right, but do it firm. You've got ample room within the law to win your child's freedom back, to demand it back. So let's set an example. That's August 30th. It will be a first reading and filing. Now here's what's going to happen. The second that happens, a 30-day window starts. Tick-tock, 30 days. In that 30-day window, you, the public, are supposed to comment. You're supposed to be allowed to comment if they publish it. You're supposed to be allowed to comment on it. The content advisors, such as Dr. Lash, will supposedly and is supposed to have the opportunity to interject, to give opinion, to speak to the State School Board of Education. September 2nd, right after August 30th, they're going to go to a vote. Now, yes, a 30-day window starts for you to look at this, but they read it on August 30th, which is in 7 days, and on September 2nd, they voted as, this is it. This is our document. It then goes to a 30-day review by the public or commentary session. I don't know if that's going to happen. The content advisors have to interject and share their opinion. November 15th, the TEA, the Texas Education Agency, their staff will do a technical edit and a second reading. Okay? On November 15th. And then November 18th. If the good Texas citizen, mom and dad, does not show up in the next 7 days, and again does not show up in the subsequent 30 days, then on November 18th, the collective body of work that I just displayed to you will in fact then be adopted as final by the Texas State Board of Education. Prior to the new State Board of Education taking office in January, prior to the election cycle taking office, all happening right now in an expedited timeline for no other reason than I can find a political one. And it's happening while you are sleeping. Your actions to take is go to our website, JacoBooyensMinistries.org. Don't spell it wrong. Get it? You can also type in help, JBM. That's Juliet Bravo Mike. HelpJBM.org or JacoBooyensMinistries.org. And there you're going to be instructed to email Governor Abbott. And again, I told you, be nice but firm. Email Governor Abbott. Call his office. Email Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. Call his office. Email Commissioner Mike Morath. Call his office. And follow the instructions to email and call every single state school board member in Texas, the Texas SBOE, and in kindness with the facts which we have armed you with, and we arm you with even more, including all these facts on our website. You draft an email and say, we do not approve of this new revised standards for TEKS. We want to draft off of the 2009 current standards of TEKS, written by David Barton and the scholars that helped him. We demand that our children is in fact ours and not the community's. We want to teach Texas history, U.S. history. We are not for this revised movement to globalizing our children and really making them, in the long run, anti-American, who will not defend the First Amendment, Second Amendment, Constitution, Bill of Rights, who will not believe there's liberty and justice for all. I charge you with helping us with this. Share this with everybody. Do it kindly. Take action today and do not stop for the next 7 days. God bless you.